Hey everyone, I'm Allison. I'm a R4 resident at UW residency. I, along with Roxana Garcia, we're the leadership of representation in rehab, which we'll get into what that is a little bit tonight, go more in depth with RIR. But we also want to talk to you about other professional societies and resident student organizations and what offerings they have for medical students. This is kind of just things I've been involved in and some things I know about and places, organizations that we've collaborated with. So this may not be an exhaustive list, but we want to give you a little overview of things that you may want to check out. So this kind of came about because we were putting together a master list of PM&R societies, leadership opportunities on our website, because this is something that we found was helpful for medical students in RIR. And we found out Pathways and PM&R had the same idea. I found a link on their website that was a great and a long list of PM&R resources and organizations. So why should you join one of these organizations? Maybe representation and rehab. Well, I think it's a great way to share resources, to learn about PM&R and meet other medical students and residents who are interested in rehab. It's a great way to gain leadership experience if you want to be part of the leadership of these organizations. Mentorship is a big part of all of these organizations, including RIR. We have a lot of resources and webinars and online meetings about application advice and help with applying to residency, as well as sharing clinical and research opportunities. And one of the biggest things about RIR has been the community that we've built. So this is something I've really enjoyed, and here's some pictures of us meeting up on our Zoom meetings and meeting up at conferences in person as well. So this is kind of how representation in rehab came about, was the idea of building this community. And a lot of these organizations, you may be the only medical student in your med school, or the only person that who even knows what PM&R is or is interested in going into rehab. And especially representation in rehab wanted to have a place for people if they had never seen anyone who looked like them or who was, underrepresented in medicine, who was interested in rehab medicine. So this is how our mission started, was to promote PM&R to underrepresented students in medicine, as well as increase access to opportunities in PM&R, especially in that community, as well as build a community around a commitment to health equity. So we launched RIR back in May of last year. And since then, we've built a Slack community with over 150 members. We have a lot of Zoom events at least once per month. Conferences, we've met up at conferences and also recruited residents and med students for in-person volunteering events around the country, as well as having networking, both formal and informal, through our Slack community. And our formal mentorship program had over 90 mentors and mentees last year, and had really great feedback from that. Our virtual events include having learning panels especially about advocacy issues in rehab medicine, hearing from patients about issues with disability rights and things like that. We have these virtual journal clubs where you can not only learn about the field of PM&R, but you can also present with attending about articles, as well as we have webinars about preparing your application for residency and opportunities that med students can access, such as signing up for away rotations and networking conferences. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, check out our website. You can create a member account anytime. Our leadership application usually goes out in the spring around March or April if you're interested in being part of that, and we announce those applications on social media. Our mentorship program, we usually have signups around August, and I believe we've extended the application deadline, so you could check that out as well. And this is specifically a mentorship program for mentees who are underrepresented in medicine. So a little bit about other societies, just mentioning Pathways and PM&R. You probably know somewhat about Pathways since you're here at this event. because they're your host for this evening and the whole week. But their mission is that they are a nationwide PM&R interest group, and their mission is to provide outreach and education for medical students, especially those without home PM&R programs. So they have lots of online events like this, and similar to us, having webinars and applying to residency, learning about different subspecialties in PM&R. So you should check their website out as well. And now I just want to get into a little bit about the big national PM&R organizations that have been around for a long time, AAPM&R and AAP. You've probably heard of these, so I just want to delve into some of what they have to offer medical students. So AAPM&R, they're the society. They're very focused on clinical practice, networking, career development. You've probably seen PM&R Knowledge Now, which is a website with summaries of rehab topics, like the up-to-date for PM&R. And you may get involved with updating or writing one of those articles if you have an attending who's interested in doing that with you. So they have their annual assembly coming up in November, a big event in New Orleans this year. And then they also have a Fizz forum if you want to join for community discussions, the blog. The people post questions and answers about topics in rehab. And then they also have member communities. If you are interested in becoming part of those communities, there's based in clinical subspecialties like sports medicine, brain injury, as well as private practice versus academia, as well as identity-based communities. Specifically for medical students, med student membership is free, as it is for most of these societies that we're talking about. Or you can pay $40 to get the PM&R, $40 a year to get the PM&R journal, which is their journal, aka the Purple Journal. So their online events, they have a virtual residency fair. They have med student guides to PM&R, and they also have a lot of resources on their website, like roadmaps to PM&R, which is kind of advice about what to do each year of medical school to prepare for PM&R residency application. Lots of application advice, Q&As with residents, and guides to starting/running PM&R interest groups. AAP is the more academic research focus of the two, but they also focus on mentorship, leadership, and discovery is their motto. They also have an annual meeting, which is more research focused. They also have their own journal, which is the HAPM&R, and the membership is free for medical students. You can also apply to be on the Medical Student Council, which has a main council with president and vice president, as well as subcommittees in research, recruitment, diversity, and many different topics. They usually have their elections in January/February. Something that I think is really great in AAP is the RMs and MSSCE externships that they fund during the summer. So they give you funding to either do clinical rotations or do research with an academic institution. Not necessarily your own. You can do this whichever institution you want. And they also fund for you to present at the AAP annual conference. You have to apply kind of early in the spring of your MS1 year, and it's that summer between MS1 and 2. This is something I've done if you have any questions about it, and I think it's a really great opportunity. They also have funding and advice for your PM&R interest group. They provide money if you want to throw a PM&R fair, and they have a lot of advice for that. They have their own mentorship program, the Big Buddy program. They have virtual events, including a virtual intro to PM&R, which is lectures and discussions that they go through every summer and different topics. And I've been a discussion leader for this, and this is a really comprehensive way to learn about the field. And they also have application webinars. AOC PM&R, also a big PM&R institution or organization. They're specifically for the American Osteopathic College of PM&R. So they have their own individual chapters at a bunch of medical schools, and I'm sure they would be happy if you wanted to start one at yours if there isn't a AOC PM&R chapter there already. They have leadership opportunities in their student council as well, and the applications go out in winter. They have really great virtual events, lecture series, podcast series, and they have upcoming mock interviews where residents do mock interviews with medical students for residency. And we're collaborating with them in October to do a disparities in rehab panel. So you should look out on social media to see when that's happening. PM&R Scholars, they're another great organization focused on research and collaboration. And some of the big things that they do that are unique that I really appreciate is their virtual residency fair. UW, we really appreciated the opportunity to present with them on our residency. And then the PM&R Medical Spanish Network. They have small groups for learning medical Spanish, especially terms around rehab topics.
Thank you so much. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Roxy. I am a PGY4 over at Stanford. And what Allison didn't tell you is that she's applying into TBI fellowship, and then I applied into pain medicine. So we're both going to subspecialize further. And as you all know, there are a lot of different fellowship opportunities after PM&R, and some of them are ACGME accredited and some of them aren't. And you definitely don't need to subspecialize at all. And this is not like a encouragement that you should subspecialize, but I think it is very cool to see, I think as a medical student, to just get an idea of how wide and diverse and broad our field is to just know what's out there. And some of these organizations really do have ways that medical students can get involved in, or they have good resources. So you have AMSSM for sports medicine. And the reason I would actually really join them is because I believe it's $50 a year. I think I have another slide about this later on, but they have access to ultrasound videos that are actually really helpful. And I know Dipindra has gathered some links of those ultrasound videos. And then we also actually have a full list of just random ultrasound videos that is shared with the Stanford PM&R residency. So we're going to post that into our OE rotation guide. So just make sure to look at that. But I think that's really helpful as you're kind of going through your training. ANEM also has free medical student membership and free conference registration, and they are an organization that really focuses on electrodiagnostic studies. So that's a lot of what we do. And, just EMG, nerve conduction studies to, for carpal tunnel, ulnar nerve issues, all of that. So they have good ultrasound videos as well and a lot of resources. And I would tell you that as a medical student, you really don't need to know that much about this if you're doing a PM&R away. Just having an idea of basic understanding of nerves and all of that and anatomy is enough. But if you want to go a bit further and just want to show your involvement in these societies, you can always join them and just sort of list them on your MCAS application. We do have a list of a master list of the PM&R societies and leadership opportunities and summer programs on our website that Allison mentioned. I'm just going to highlight that here. This is just a screenshot of that, because if you scroll down to the bottom, besides general PM&R, we do have a list of subspecialty kind of organizations that you can join. And so obviously the neuromuscular stuff is there, TBI, SCI. Dipindra worked really hard on just following up with these organizations and listed here what the cost is to medical students. And as you can tell, some of them are free. And it turns out most of the ones that are free are actually pain and spine societies. And because I am applying into pain and spine, that is what I'm also going to mention. So I think the ones that I would actually suggest that you follow on Twitter, and you should get a Twitter if you don't have one already, is you should actually follow the ASRA RSC committee, which is their resident section committee, I believe. And you should follow the NANS, RFS, and Young Modulators committee. And that is the North America Neuromodulation Society. And the reason you should follow them, even if you don't want to go into these specialties, which again, it's not for everyone, is because they actually have opportunities for medical students to get involved in. And we share these opportunities when we find out about them on our research opportunities thread on Slack. But at one point, RSC, the ASRA, which is again like a pain medicine organization, was looking for medical students to help them write for the ASRA newsletter, which is like a really good way, an easy way for you to get your name out there. And then also at one point, NANS was also looking for medical students to help them write notes on their educational videos. And this is something that, again, if you're in the mentorship committees and you have residents that are involved in these organizations, they can also tell you about them, because that was something that we shared with our mentorship group. The other organizations that the big ones that you'll hear about once you're in residency is APM. I'm just going to put a plug out there for Women Innovators in Pain Medicine. Their conference is amazing. Like if you go, you will be inspired, I think, to be a female physician in a very male-dominated field. You will want to do pain medicine after this because it's truly just like a really amazing, uplifting conference. So if you're at all interested, I would say definitely make it a priority to go there. And then SIS is the other organization. It's the Spine Intervention Society, but again, they actually don't have a lot of opportunities for medical students to get involved in. And there's a wider list of pain organizations here. I just kind of highlighted these just because I have personal connections with them, and I'm listing them here because, again, the plug for the Women Innovators in Pain Medicine is just awesome. So this is a slide that Lauren made. And actually, Lauren, if you are still on here, do you want to talk a little bit about the SMA Specialty Interest Group?
Hi, thanks so much, Roxy. Yeah, sure, I'd love to talk about it. So hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Bagneris. I'm the head liaison of the Student National Medical Association PM&R Specialty Interest Group. This is my second year in the role. And basically the role of SNMA and the mission of SNMA is committed to supporting current and future underrepresented minority medical students in addressing the different needs of underserved communities and increasing the number of clinically excellent, culturally competent, and socially conscious physicians. And through SNMA, they tasked us with starting various specialty interest groups, and the PM&R Specialty Interest Group has grown tremendously in the past year. Our mission is to prepare and promote the future generation of physiatrists to lead with purpose and passion as we serve the needs of underrepresented minoritized community. And the way we do that is we have several subspecialty series panels where we do highlight the various subspecialties like pain medicine, sports medicine, traumatic brain injury, you name it. We are trying to cover it, and we'll continue to do that this year. We also connected the various conferences. So a lot of us attended AAP and AAPM&R last year, in addition to AMEC, which is our national conference. The picture on the slide is from AAPM&R in Baltimore this year, and we'll be in New Orleans this year, which is where I'm from. So we will definitely be represented there as well. So if you plan on coming to AAPM&R this year, we do have a lot of plans to really just kind of gather and support the mission and support students who are interested in physiatry. Like they mentioned earlier, we also have mentorship and research opportunities in addition to scholarships. In terms of promoting people's passion towards physiatry, we have quarterly newsletters, different networking events, social gatherings at conferences, and we are partnering with the NMA to offer scholarships for students to attend conferences as well. If you're interested in joining the GroupMe, that is the QR code. So definitely feel free to join us. We're really excited, and thank you so much for shouting us out for Pathways to PM&R and for representation in rehab.
Thanks so much, Lauren. That was really helpful, and I appreciate you reaching out. The other thing that I don't have listed on here because it's still in the works, but there is an LMSA specialty, like PM&R specialty section that just launched. And I think to just illustrate of how difficult it is sometimes to hear about all these opportunities, I think they only advertise it on Instagram. And so I know someone who's attending, their first meeting is tonight, but we don't have very much information about how you can get involved yet. But just to say, I think follow the LMSA national Instagram. And then they just said that Dr. Monica Verduzco Gutierrez is going to be leading the PM&R section. And so just keep an eye out for that if you are part of LMSA. And I think once again, just PM&R is so broad. There are not that many residency programs, and there's just so many different groups that you can join. And I would say it's really hard to find out what's out there, what opportunities there are. And it's hard to get involved. But I do think that although I'm not a huge social media person, I'm becoming more of that because I actually think joining Twitter, Instagram, even checking out the PM&R Discord is actually really important in terms of disseminating information. And of course, you can always check out our representation and rehab website and also our Slack group, and we try to share a lot of opportunities on there as well. Good luck to everyone applying this year. I know apps are due in a month, maybe. Good luck.
Thanks for
Awesome.
joining, everyone.
Yeah, Allison, Roxy, Lauren, thank you all so much. This was incredible. And I learned about a lot of organizations that I didn't even know existed. So I think people will benefit a lot from this. So I really appreciate y'all taking the time to come share y'all's knowledge with us.
Yeah, thank you. And this is just one last parting words of wisdom. Once you get into residency, because you are all going to get into PM&R residency, try to get involved in leadership societies. They're going to help you a lot more than you realize. You're going to get inspired because you're going to meet residents from a lot of different programs. And even if you don't want to stay in academia, because truly it's not for everyone, you don't need to. It's actually really good, I think, to create community, because you're going to run into these people again and again and again. I know I'm going to run into all of you, I know, at PM&R conferences in the future. So just put yourself out there. It's a really fun community, and good luck on your journey. Okay, thank you, everyone.